Earlier this year, I lectured on the subject of the science of placebo and hypnosis at the UK Hypnosis Convention, and I mentioned a real bugbear of mine within that lecture. To give some context, I'd been speaking about how Professor Irving Kirsch had published his research findings about antidepressants and had received some criticism, so his colleagues and him decided to replicate this study with a completely different set of studies in their meta-analysis, and using the Freedom of Information Act, they accessed all the data from clinical trials of applications for drug approvals over the years. They then analysed it all for the 6 most widely prescribed antidepressants that were used worldwide at the time, and they checked all the FDA data, which were solid trials that led to the drugs getting approved for use with the public. So these were high quality controlled trials that were being examined. And the data showed that on the Hamilton Depression Scale, there were reasonable improvements thanks to the drugs, and likewise with placebo. But now they've suggested that 82% of the effect was down to placebo. That is, upon close inspection of these quality studies, placebo was shown to be responsible for 82% of the success of the drugs. This is a much more complex discussion and debate. I'm giving you just a very tiny snippet from my lecture. Anyway, some of the critics of Kirsch's analysis wrote, antidepressants work. Everybody knows they work. Clinical practice plus millions of content patients can't be that wrong. This kind of thing. I'm going to draw some parallels now and start tying all of this in within the field of hypnotherapy. There are lots of hypnotherapists who say, for example, I've used ABC technique for the past 15 years and it's worked fine for me. When the actual efficacy of ABC technique is then brought into question, when I've stated some healthy skepticism of the kind of loudly marketed voices in our field making claims, hyping up, the mega fast, supersonic, awesome techniques that they've invented, I've sometimes suggested that without effective data to support them, how do we know that it's, anything more than placebo that's making it effective? I then get that reply, and this is the thing that I have issues with. This is the crux of today. Well, as long as it works, Adam, and so on. I don't need to know how it works, as long as it works. I don't need to know why it works, as long as it works. I don't need to know anything at all. I choose jellyhead instead of brains, as long as it works. And I find this exasperating, that the history of medicine is filled with treatments that have worked effectively for millions of people. I had highlighted to me and have since cited often a wonderful historical academic paper by Honigfeld in 1964, an early and prolific author on the placebo effect, way back in the 1960s when this was a relatively new topic in the field of research. And he highlighted that many things had been used historically that have been effective. Bloodletting, leeches, putrid meat, human sweat, frog sperm, and crocodile dung. Crocodile dung was used as a contraceptive. Crocodiles laugh at this, believe me, they do. Honestly, when they're hanging out together, they laugh at us because we have used their dung as a medical treatment. Crocodile dung was successfully used by thousands upon thousands as a contraceptive, as well as for a variety of other things. It worked. So why don't we continue using it today? Why are we not simply saying, as long as it works, who cares? And so these are some of the reasons that we do not rely purely on client testimonials when it comes to deciding clinical treatments, for example. Testimonials are great in a wide number of ways, but we cannot rely upon them for the development of our field, and we must not use them to decide clinical treatments, just because something worked for them. Likewise, it's important that we don't just continue to have this mindset of, as long as it works, does it matter how or why? I have success, I don't need to know any more than that. That kind of anti-intellectualism that's common in this field, that kind of anti-intellectualism is what has the crocodiles laughing at us for using their dung for contraception. For goodness sake. Trials and evidence ensure that everybody gets precisely the same within that trial as much as possible. And good science is undoubtedly tough to conduct in the field of hypnosis. But adhering to scientific principles and conducting standardized research wherever possible gives us the chance to fully examine what we are doing and see what mechanisms are actually producing the effect with what we do. We get a far deeper understanding of our field. And we get to explain that and disseminate that to the rest of the mental health fields, the psychological fields. We get to inform and modernize our field, and we have more profound credibility. Anyway, so recently I had a well-known NLP trainer say to me, I use my computer each day, but I don't know how it works. I use my brain each day. I don't need to know how it works. I know NLP works. I don't necessarily need to know how or why. And then just kind of shut down the conversation with regards to any further debate regarding what they teach about the mind and what they teach about NLP and how it works according to them. And that's one of the reasons I suspect that the field of NLP is not growing as a field beyond the sort of cult-like status that it has on the fringes of psychology fields, not making more of a profound impact because of this kind of lazy, anti-intellectual, anti-establishment mindset. And don't be one of those people who opt for that comeback of as long as it works. Instead, be one of the people who actively moves the field forward. If you truly love the field of hypnotherapy and hypnosis, you need to do more than just spread the word about it or regurgitate it, ineffectively. We need to understand it and be able to develop it effectively. As long as it works attitude is crocodile dung attitude. But by the way, if you'd like to see full footage of my lecture from this year's UK Hypnosis Convention, along with lectures I gave in Iceland, Denmark, Wales and more besides in the past year, you can watch them in my online members area, along with hundreds of hours of me teaching diploma level, advanced level, latest versions of my seminars, and packed with much more besides. You can go and check out the link in the comments section below. I'll put a link in the comments section below or further down on this page somewhere. You can grab 5 days free if you want to test it all out first, if you'll excuse my plug there. Anyway, abandon this kind of as long as it works attitude. I send you my very best wishes. Goodbye for now.